Jai Hind to all. Myself Shikha Agarwal, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So today we are going to discuss one more topic of computer network, that is a network model. When we talk about the network model, basically this model concept comes in our day-to-day life. As we know that whenever we are doing anything, it consists of a certain layers in our day-to-day life. For example, if we want to consider one example, that is when the two friends wants to communicate through the postal mail, into that case there is a process of sending a letter that would be very much complex, and in which we have to go to the post office, submit to the letter, and then only it is being delivered to the next destination. Somewhere we can say it will take 2 to 3 days depending upon the destinated place, how much time it will take to deliver that letter from the source to the correct destination. So here the network model gives the same concept in which it is being including a n number of layers, how the letter is being transmitted from one node to another nodes, or from one person to another. Now you can see the real life example which we are using in a day-to-day life. Suppose if I am sender, if I want to write a letter to someone, into that case what happens? First of all, I will write the letter, I will put it into the envelope and write the source address and the destination address, matlab self address, sender's address and receiver's address, and finally dropped in a mailbox. Then after that, that particular letter is being carried from the mailbox to the post office. So again, the second layer works that that particular letter is being traveling from a mailbox to the post office. Now after that, the letter is being delivered by a carrier. It can be anything like a car, truck, bus and so on, by the post office. Then finally, that particular parcel is being carried from the source to the final destinated loader. Then after that, when it comes to the local post office of that destinated machine, then it is being delivered to the post office. Then the post office person is delivering that letter to the mailbox, and finally when it comes to the receiver, now the receiver picked up that letter, remove or reading the source or the destinated address from which we are getting or whose letter it belongs to, and finally encapsulate that envelope and finally read the message, right? This is the basic thing which we are following in our day-to-day life. Similarly, on the basis of that, we are going to discuss about the network models. That network models is being basically consist of a number of layers, and each and every layer is doing its own task. So first of all, here we are going to discuss about the first model, that is OSI model. When I'm talking about the OSI model, this particular model is being provided by the ISO standard that covers all the aspects of the network communication when we are talking about transmitting a data or communicating a data from one source to the destinated machine. We can say this particular model is established in 1947. It is being given or dedicated the worldwide agreement to on the international standards with the help of the ISO. ISO stands for International Standard Organization. This particular model covers all the aspects of network communication is the OSI model. This particularly was first introduced in 1970s into the real life. When I'm talking about the OSI model, we can say OSI is a model and ISO is the organization who gives this model. Then we can say when I'm talking about the OSI model, before that when I'm talking about the real-time example, as I told you that it consists of layers. So similarly in the case of OSI model, this particular model represents the 7-layer architecture: application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and finally the physical layer. Each and every layer is passing the data from one after another, and each and every layer is playing an important role. So in this lecture here we are going to discuss about one by one all the layers, right? So first of all, when I'm talking about the complete architecture of the OSI model, you can see, suppose this is a device A which is working as a source model and this is device B. In between there are certain intermediate nodes, right, through which the data is being passing. So whenever it is being passing to the network, both the sides we are maintaining the 7-layer architecture, and out of all these layers we are having a peer-to-peer protocol on the 6th, 7th, 5th and the 4th layer. But on the third, that is a network layer, data link layer and physical layer, there is a physical communication between the intermediate nodes too, right? So this is the representation of OSI model, in which how the layers is being interacting with one another. Remember one more thing, when the two layers are interacting with each other, in between there is an interface or an intermediate layer which do the interaction between the above and the below layer. Whenever we are exchanging our data from the upper layer to the lower layer, remember one thing, suppose there is a sender, it sends the data or it generates the letter. When it generates the letter, that particular data is being encapsulated by its header of the 7th layer. So we can say whenever it is being sent to the next layer, or whenever the packet is coming to the next layer, it always encapsulate by the header of that particular layer. So suppose if I say H7 is the 7th layer header format, then H6, 5, 4, 3 up to the network layer, it encapsulates with the header format only. But when it comes the data on the data link layer, then it is being encapsulated with the header as well as the tailor bits, right? And finally, in the physical layer, the data is being converted into the binary string, because our computer understands only ones and zeros, right? Binary data. So after that, it will be passed through the transmission medium. In the real life example or in our day to day, we are using all about truck, air medium and so on. But here we are having different types of transmission mediums, whether it is a wired medium or wireless. So depending upon the transmission medium, then it comes to the data link sender receiver side. Into that case, it will de-encapsulate the headers and finally it receives the data, right? This is the way how the exchange is being done. Now in this lecture, what we are going to discuss, we are discuss about the each and every layer responsibilities. As I have told you that OSI is a 7-layer architecture. So here we are going to discuss about the duties or the responsibilities of each and every layer, how it works and what all it works. First of all, we talk about the data link layer, physical layer. When we talk about the physical layer, the data comes from the data link layer and it is the responsibility of physical layer. Then it is being transmitted to the transmission medium and finally it sends to the data link layer. When we talk about the physical layer, remember one thing, it is the main responsibility of the physical layer for the movements of individual bits from the hop to the next hop, or hop is also known as from the one node to the another node. So the main responsibility of the physical layer is to send the data or to send the individual bits from one after another in the transmission medium. So these all are the responsibilities of the physical layer. The first is physical characteristics of the interfaces and the medium. When I am talking about the physical characteristics of the interfaces and medium, it defines the characteristics, how the interface works between the devices and the transmission medium. It also defines which type of a transmission medium we are using, whether we are using wired or wireless, right? Second thing, when we talk about the second responsibility, that is a representation of bits. Representation of bits matlab, we are sending a stream of bits without interruption and that particular data is being encoded, the signals either in an electrical form or in an optical form, or because whatever the data we are sending, it is being depending upon the type of encoding we are using, and we have to send the data in a form of 0 and 1s. Then after that, the third responsibility is data rate. When I am using the word data rate, we have to find the transmission rate, or we can say the how many number of bits is being sent per second. That is also the responsibility of data link layer. If it is being too fast, it is easy to manipulate that data. If it is very slow, then it would be very time consuming process and so on. So we need to maintain the data rate. The fourth is synchronization of bits. When I am talking about the synchronization, it means the sender and the receiver is sending the data. So we need to synchronize the levels, how the clock must be used so that we can synchronize the data. The next is line configuration. When I am using the word line configuration, as we know, when we are connecting the devices, we are using the two types of configurations, either a point-to-point configuration or multi-point. So the physical layer also decides which type of a connection it is, how we need to travel the data, whether the data is point-to-point configuration or multi-point configuration. The next is physical topology. Physical topology says how the network is being defined, how the devices are connected. So into that case, it will also works for the physical topology. And the last, we are going to talk about the transmission mode. When I'm using the word transmission mode, means what is the direction for the data traveling, whether it is a simplex mode, half duplex mode or full duplex mode. Then the next layer is data link layer. It takes the services from the network layer and provide the services to the physical layer. As I already told you, it includes the header as well as the Taylor bits. So into that case, it takes the services from the network layer and give the services to the physical layer. When we talk about the data link layer, always remember that it is being responsible for moving the frames from one node to the another node, right? So the first thing is framing. Whenever we are receiving the data from the upper layer, it is in a large amount. It is of large MB. So what we do is we are dividing into the small streams of bits so that it would be manageable data to transmit the data from the data link layer to the physical layer. So that is called framing. The second thing is when we talk about the concept of data link layer, it requires the physical addressing. Physical addressing basically requires the address or the MAC address which is being used within a network so that we can easily distribute the systems to the different systems on the network. The next is flow control. When we talk about the flow control, as we know, I have already told you that if the rate at which the data is being absorbed by the receiver is less than the rate at which the data is being produced by the sender, that it works with the better way. Because if the speed is so high, data rate flow is high, then it would be very difficult for the receiver to manage that data. The next is error control. When we talk about the data link layer, it's more responsibility to add the reliability to the physical layer by adding the mechanism of detecting and retransmitting the damaged frames, so that we can also easily find how many number of frames are damaged, how we need to retransmit, how many number of frames are being lost. So it also uses a mechanism to recognize about the duplicacy of the frames, which is being done by the error control. There are the various error detection and correction methods which we need to study. The next is access control. When I'm using the word access control, when the two or more devices are connected to the same link, then we can say we need to determine how the control is being given to that particular amount of time onto that link, how it works, how we can access that data easily. So these are the basic responsibilities. Now if I'm saying that data link layer provides the hop to hop delivery. When I'm using the word hop to hop delivery, suppose this is a one end system, it is being linked with an intermediate router or any device. So we can say it is the responsibility of physical layer to deliver the data from the one end system to the another node. Then we can say it is called as a hop by hop delivery. This is the main responsibility of data link layer. The next we are going to discuss about the network layer. When I'm talking about the network layer, it takes the responsibilities or that receives the data from the transport layer and provides the data to the data link layer. So it includes its own header, right? Then after that, when I'm talking about the network layer means we are interacting with the outside world, right? So we can say the network layer is responsible for the delivery of individual packets from the source host to the final destination host. In the case of data link layer, it is the movement of packets or frames from one hop to the next hop. But the network layer is responsible for the delivery of individual packets from the source host to the final destination host. Now you can see the example. If I say that hop by hop is a delivery, it is the responsibility of data link layer, right? But when one end system delivers the data to the next end system, then we can say it is called as a source to destination delivery, and it is the responsibility of network layer. Now the other responsibilities of the network layer are, suppose when we interact to the outside world, we require one type of addressing, and into that case it is called as a logical addressing. As we have already told you that physical addressing is being implemented on the data link layer so that it can handle the problems locally. But if the packet is being passing beyond its boundaries, So we need another type of a address. Then we require a logical addressing. That logical address is also called as an IP addressing. The next is routing. When we are going outside the boundaries, it means it is being connected n number of networks, n number of links is being created, and that particular network of networks is called as an internet. When we are interacting to the outside world, we are connecting through the devices like a routers, hubs, switch, etc. to reach the packet for the final destination. So in which, who is going to tell you the route, which link we need to use so that our packet is being delivered to the correct destination. So it is the responsibility of the network layer to route the packet by using the concept of routing mechanism. The next is transport layer. It takes the services from the session layer and provide the services to the network layer, right? When we talk about the transport layer, it is the responsibility of a transport layer to deliver a message of a one process to the another process. For example, suppose there is an end system A, this is an end system B. It delivers the data from this particular node to the intermediate node, then it is called as a host to network delivery. But when I am talking about the network layer, it is the responsibility to deliver the system from one end system to the another end system. But the responsibility of the transport layer is when it completes the one process of one system to complete the target of the process of another system, then it is called as a process to process delivery, and it is the responsibility of transport layer. When I am talking about the transport layer, in the data link layer we have discussed about flow control and error control. Transport layer is also working in the similar manner like error control and flow control similarly as the data link layer works. Apart from that, it requires a service point addressing, which is also called as a port addresses, right? So because suppose these are the n number of processes is being executed, they are having their own process numbers. So we are using the n number of processes and being completed. So for that sake, we require a one type of an addressing, which is called as a service point address, or it is also called as a port address. The next is segmentation and reassembly. As the message is being divided into a transmittable segments so that we are easy to understand, and it is very easy for the receiver to reassemble them. So that is why we are using about the concept of segmentation and reassemble, and each and every segments consist of a sequence numbers. The next is connection control. When I am talking about the transport layer, we are using n number of protocols. That is why we need a different types of connections, whether it is a connectionless protocol or a connection oriented protocol. So these are the basic responsibilities of transport layer. After that, we are going to discuss about the fifth layer, that is called as a session layer. The session layer take the responsibilities from the presentation layer and give the services to the transport layer, right? When I am talking about the session layer, it is having a two main responsibilities. First is a dialogue control and the second is synchronization. Because when I am talking about the data, it is being along the system. When the two system enters into the conversation or the communication, they always enters into a dialogue. So whenever we need to complete that task, we need to do the communication between the two processes in either of the way, whether it is a one-way communication or both the ways communication. So for that is we are required dialogue controller. The next is synchronization. Synchronization means the session layer also allows to add the checkpoints or the synchronization points in the streams of data. For example, if I suppose I have 2000 pages of a one book and we need to insert a checkpoints after every 100 number of pages so that we can easily find which page number we are using into it. So this is called as a synchronization. We need to add the page numbers on each and every page so that we can maintain the data synchronization. The next we have a presentation layer. When I am talking about the presentation layer, it takes the services from the application layer and provide the services to the session layer. Remember one thing, when I am talking about the presentation layer, it is being responsible for the three things. First is translation, second is compression, and the third is encryption. Because these three things we require for the security purposes. So when we talk about the presentation layer, there are the three responsibilities. First, I'm talking about the translation. As we know that the particular data is being exchanged in a various ways, right? So we need to maintain the data into the forms. So whether the data is in a string form, numbers and so on. So we need to maintain the translation. As we can talk about the example of the translation is, suppose we are having a video conferencing of n number of users which belongs to the different countries, right? So into that case, what happens? Each and every understands their own native language. So the one person who is speaking into it is understandable. So that is what is called as a translation. Second, we need to do an encryption. Encryption. When we talk about the encryption, it means we need to translate the data so that it will not be understandable by the third person. The next is compression. Compression means as we are having a large number of files, we need to reduce the size of that bits so that we can easily transmit the data from one source to the destinated node. Is the responsibility of presentation layer. Now after that, we are going to discuss about the application layer. In the application layer, it takes the data from the human or the users and finally gives the responsibility to the presentation layer. Like we are using a Word document, email or Telnet, we are using TCP. These are the various types of the user programs through which we are generating the data and we are transmitting to the next layer. The application layer is responsible for providing the services to the user. So this is when we talk about the application layer, it is having a network virtual terminals. Network virtual terminal basically is a software version of a physical terminal so that it will allow the user to log on onto the remote host. Second, we can talk about the file transfers. We can easily change or make the reading, modify the data into the files and so on. The next is mail services. It provides like an email or storage or directory services, right? So this is all about the summary of all the layers about the OSI model. Finally, we are going to talk about the TCP model. In the TCP model, the TCP works like a TCP is basically a protocol which is being defined with the 4 layers, but it is being not exactly similar to the OSI model, but it behaves like a, or working pattern is to be like a OSI model, because OSI is a reference model and TCP IP is a protocol, into which that particular 7 layers is being converted into the 4 layer architecture. First is network to host to network layer, second is internet layer, third is transport layer, and finally we are having a application layer. We can say that TCP is compared to OSI, or it is being made up of 5 layers also, like a physical layer, data link layer, network, transport and application. कहने का मतलब ये है कि into this case we can convert both the layers in a different way, or it can work into a same way as a host to network layer. This is the basic architecture of the TCP and the OSI model, in which we are combining both the layers of physical and data link layer responsibilities, which is called as a host to network layer. The second, we are having an internet layer or a network layer, in which we are using an IP. An IP always works or never works alone. So it merges with the n number of protocols. Then we are having a transport layer, then application, presentation and session. All the 3 responsibilities is being merged, and which is layer is called as an application layer, right? The next we are going to talk about the addressing. In the case of an addressing, there are the 4 types of addresses: physical, logical, port and specific addresses. Physical address is on data link layer, logical is network layer, this is on transport layer, and specific addresses is on application layer, right? So these are the 4 types of addresses. First of all, these are the link, as I have already told you. Then finally, we are talking about the physical layer. Whenever it requires, it always sends the data, receives the data from the above layer. Suppose this is the sender address is 10. It includes the destinated address. It always broadcasts the message on the each and every node. Whosoever destinated address is being matched, then it will de-encapsulate the packet and it receives the data. This works on a data link layer. The next we are when we talk about the physical address, it is being representing in an hexadecimal notation, like your MAC address, which is of 48 bits long or a 6 byte long, and it is being written in a hexadecimal notation, which is being separated by the colons. The next we are having our IP addressing. Suppose मान के चलिए this is a node in which we are representing A as an IP address and 10 is a physical address, right? So it is being encapsulated by A and P. Suppose P is the destination address where we need to send that data. Then it is being on the data link layer, it is being encapsulated. When it comes to the router, it will de-encapsulate the packet and it will find that this is the network of this LAN 2. So it will transmit and it will convert that only the logical address, but there will be a no change into the logical address, right? And finally, when it comes to the LAN 3, it is received to the local address and it is the responsibility of the addressing to receive that data. The next we are going to talk about the port addressing. When we talk about the port addresses, it means it is address of a one process to complete the target. So IP address and physical address are necessary for a quantity of a data so that it can travel from the source to the destination machine. But arrival at the destination machine is not a final objective of the data communication on the internet. So it sends nothing, but the data from the one computer to the another computer is incomplete. So need to complete the multiple processes which is being running onto the computer. We require a one type of addressing which is called as a port addresses. When I'm talking about the port addressing, as you know the physical address, these are the processes. So we need to include the port addresses into the internet. And finally, when it completes the one process of the receiver, then we can say it is called as a process to process delivery. Physical addresses will change node to node, but the logical addresses always remains the same from the source machine to the final destinated machine. The last, when we talk about the port addressing, in the case of port addressing, it is being representing a 16-bit port address in a single number, in a decimal number like this way. Finally, in the last, we are going to discuss about the specific addresses. Specific addresses are those addresses which is being designed for the users so that they are very friendly, so that they can easily learn the addresses, like your email addresses or URL. Suppose if I say ki you have to write 192.100.x.y and so on, it would be difficult to learn all these addresses. But in comparison to say, if I say you have to write www.google.com, then it would be easy for us to understand, right? So these are called as specific addresses, which is being user friendly and it is easy to understand for the users. Specific addresses. Thank you.